I wanted to give everyone a quick tutorial on how to read the data sheet for the pump motor because homework 11 asks that you draw the pump motor using SolidWorks using the information that you can see from the data sheet. Some of you maybe have never used a data sheet before or just kind of overwhelmed with the information that's presented in it. So let's start by identifying the different parts of the data sheet. This component down here, this section right here, is just talking about the different models and the different ratings for each model. So for instance, the voltage rating, the load capacity of the model, the efficiency, and related to speed, current, torque, power, and then the stall torque. In order to draw your motor in SolidWorks, you're not really going to use that information, but it just tells you a little bit about what your motor is capable of. Our motor So our motor is drawn out at the top section here. So this is kind of the drawing of the motor that you're going to use in order to do your SolidWorks. And you can see that the motor itself is drawn out here using these dimensions like this. And you have a lot of information within this data sheet. For your drawings, you don't have to draw many of the details in there. I think I mentioned that at a minimum, you need to just have the 3 kind of main cylinders. For instance, you have these little tabs right here that hang off your motor. You don't have to draw those in SolidWorks. Really what we're going to look for is the body, this little lip right here that holds the shaft, and the shaft itself. And so really, if you can just draw those 3 cylinders, that's the minimum requirement of this task. Now, in order to understand what's going on with the pump body, let me zoom in and show you. We have these dimensions that are written here, and you can see it's drawn like this. So let's start with this far one right here. This one right here is showing you 51.0. Now, it doesn't have any units. I mentioned in the homework that the units for this is millimeters. And so all of the units for these numbers that are on here are millimeters. Now, if you see these arrows right here and it draws a line down to this point here, that arrow is showing you that the dimension that's shown is that width or that height. So this distance here is 51.0 millimeters. Now you might just want to have this dimension here if you're just drawing the cylinder. So you might draw this cylinder here at 32.6 millimeters. So for instance, you might draw a circle in SolidWorks for the diameter of this part, which is 27.7 millimeters, and then you'd extrude it out to be the 32.6 millimeters. And then you can do the same thing after you take that part and extrude it out to be that distance. You can draw a circle on top of that part. That's this diameter here, which is 10 millimeters. And then extrude it out this distance here, extrude it out that much, and that is 3.5 millimeters. And then finally, on top of that second cylinder that you draw, you can draw a circle here on top of it, in the center of it, and that is going to be 2.3 millimeters. You can see the arrows here like that. And then you can extrude it out to be whatever that dimension is. So it would actually be this 15.6 millimeters minus this 3.5 millimeters. And that'll give you the distance that needs to be extruded. Just a couple other finer points of things that I want to mention. If you see this notation here where it's that circle with a line through it, that's telling you that it's giving you a diameter dimension for diameter. So you can see that here for this 2.3. You can see that here for this 10.0 and this 10.0 here. And then again, this 27.7 millimeters. So those are all giving you diameters. And then these right here, they don't have that circle with a line through it. And so it's giving you a length, but they are marked by the arrows. Also, you might see, so this one is showing the full length of it, and the number is on top of that line. Whereas this one, it's showing you that it's this inner dimension here. So it's talking about this segment right here because it's pointing in this segment right here because it's pointing into that part right there. Some other dimensions that you see on here are some dimensions that you're not going to use if you're just doing those 3 cylindrical parts of the pump. Again, I'll highlight that. Notice this is a vent hole. It's noted as vent holes here. You do not have to cut that into it. You can just draw the cylinder itself right here. And you don't even have to chamfer this edge right here. Notice how it has a little bit of curve right there. I encourage you to play around with that and do it, but at minimum, I just want you to have 3 cylinders. This one here, this one here, and this one here. And that should complete your pump. Now, if you look at the top of your pump, so this is a top view, and it has these these holes right here, and this stuff right here. You do not have to cut that into your part. Really what you're looking at is just those 3 main cylinders. And hopefully you can start getting a little bit more comfortable by utilizing these dimensions here and understanding how they're marking the different parts. A lot of times when someone draws parts in SolidWorks, they will be given a data sheet with dimensions drawn. And so you should be able to go from the sheet to what you're drawing in SolidWorks. So I hope this helps. And if you have any more questions, feel free to ask me or your instructor.